Hello again, Adrian. Core 101, awesome students. All right, so I've got this is going to talk about in this video researching for your research proposal, because recall that we said in the previous video that we need to have two sources, and we're working our way up to having at least 6 credible sources altogether. So I'm going to highlight kind of right here. So this is the inquiry research project. This is the one that's coming down the road, right? All right, so let's make sure we understand the difference here. This is the research proposal paper where we need a minimum of 2 sources, and it said we can do some light research for the one this week. Okay. And then when we think about, so what I'm trying to help us do here in this, with the purpose of this video, is to kind of think about, we don't want just to find 2 sources that we maybe have to throw away later. Maybe we can find 2 good sources that we can maybe keep, right? That become part of our, excuse me, part of our 6, right? So we still want to think about credibility. We still want to think about the reliability of these sources so we can continue to use them. Maybe you're already familiar with this concept, whatever. Obviously, we don't want to use somebody's blog. We don't want to use Wikipedia as the source itself. So I always tell people, all you can find is Wikipedia, find the thing on the Wikipedia page that is talking about, sorry, my hair's all, okay. The thing that is where on the Wikipedia page are they talking about the thing that you want to talk about more, right? See if there's a source in there somewhere, then it'll take you down to the bottom of the Wikipedia page, and then you can go look that thing up, right? Then get to that source, right? Check out its credibility, right? We haven't talked a whole lot yet about rhetoric, and we'll bring in some rhetoric next week, but a lot of times think about the ethos, right? The credibility of the person writing it. Is it a credible source? Have they been vetted? What is their education and background like to give them authority to write on a particular subject or to write about a particular topic? So those things we want to consider. So light research this week could include the Google search. I would encourage you to also consider Google Scholar, obviously, and maybe even using some of the library resources. I had a chance to, we'll get into library research and topic searches and stuff like that later. But I think for now, for this week, even if it's a more popular source, like a .gov or, think about .edu. Not saying that you can't use a .com, but a lot of times we think about the file extension, if you will, or the URL extension as giving it a certain level of credibility. So govs, edus, some coms, very rarely, but there may be an occasion where it's posted on there. But if you get it through like a Google Scholar, it will take you to maybe like the actual publications website and where they distribute it, and then you can probably get it from there. So right now, as far as light research goes, we since we're not going to get into like the nitty gritty of like how to use, find keywords, but try to find where you can find some really, really, really close as you possibly can conversation taking place. Where are the articles, where are people talking about and writing about specifically? Because we're looking for articles here. We're not looking for YouTube videos. We're not looking for any other type of multimedia just yet. Right now, we want to try to find some good written sources where people are talking about really close in there to what you're talking about. Maybe they're talking about the benefits. Maybe they're starting to think about, or maybe they're even asking the same questions that you're going to ask in your research proposal. They will give you some support that you can use in there and say, according to, or as so-and-so corroborates, as so-and-so discusses in their paper, blah, 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 the same thing, right? Because you want to bolster, what we want to do is find too, that you have found a place and that you're finding locations that your topic is already out there in the world somewhere that you can find that you can use to bring in as support and evidence for your topic. All right, so that's the goal for the research this week, the light research, and we want to still think about credibility and reliability right now because we still want to be able to maybe use those sources down the road. So we have to then think about replacing them. All right, so hope that makes sense. For that will be your light research, minimum 2 sources. That's not to say if you find more, you can't use them, but I'll think about at least a minimum of 2 to go with that and help support what it is that you're talking about. All right, so that's it for this video. I got about 15 seconds, so I'll sign off for now. I'll be back to talk to you perhaps later in the week about anything else we've got about the conversation model. Not as necessarily important right now, but really thinking about your research topic and getting some of that light research. Bye, guys.